So what's the solution to this? How do we solve this problem? You need to come to a realization right now. This is where the paradigm shift comes in. We've talked a lot about this stuff, but here's the realization. You need to admit, this is the first step, admit to yourself right now that the current strategy that you're using, this strategy of seeking approval for your self-image, that this is a shitty strategy and that it's time to drop it. You need to admit that to yourself, because most people pleasers, they won't even get this far. They don't like being people pleasers, but they never take this first step of really thinking it all through and saying, wait a minute, this is a strategy I'm using. It's an overarching life strategy, and it's just not going to work. There's no way it can work. When you think your strategy is correct, and you think it's going to work, then you're going to keep doing it. So you need to admit that it's not going to work. Hopefully I've tried to convince you a little bit of it here, and I'm going to continue to do that as we keep talking here. But you can do your own work and investigation to really convince yourself that this is true. And I guarantee you that it's a good move to make, to move away from the strategy. Of course, you have some reservations, right? Your brain doesn't want to do it because, well, you have a lot of good reasons. You have fears, potential fears of what might happen to you, what might happen to your success in life that you currently already have and that you're clinging to. You might wonder what's going to happen in your relationship. You might wonder what's going to happen with you. You might tell yourself that you're not being authentic if you're not a people pleaser. All this various stuff comes up, which is very natural because your brain uses all those reasons and stories to keep you very grounded in your present strategy. But you need to bust through that, and you need to decide right now that the best course of action for you, the best strategy, is to become independent. Completely independent of the good or the bad opinions of others. This means that people will come and will praise you, and you'll take that praise, but it won't change your trajectory. You won't need that praise. You won't thirst after it. Also, it means that if people come and they criticize you, they laugh at you, they make fun of you, they have a negative image of you, whatever that means, then that's also okay. You're not going to be triggered by it. The game that you're playing right now, and it is a game, right? This upholding of the ideal self-image, it's a game. This game that you're playing, the problem is that it can't be won. It can't be won because what you're trying to do is you're trying to make every opinion out there exactly the way you want, and you're basically trying to control other people. You're trying to control, think about this, you're trying to control the imaginations of other people. It's nuts what you're trying to do, and it's not going to work. It's too much work to do it. And one of the other reasons that it's not going to work is simply because opinions are very random in nature, very capricious. What that means is that a lot of times what people think about you says very little about you and your art or your work or your looks or your personality or anything else about you. It says a lot more about that other person. I mean, think about it. How did that happen to you when you were in a bad mood yourself? Something bad happened to you. Maybe you got a flat tire earlier that morning on your way to work. Or maybe you skipped out lunch and dinner and breakfast and you didn't eat for a long time, so now you're a little cranky because you're so hungry. Or maybe you had just a big breakup or a big fight with your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend. So something like that happens to you, and then somebody else comes to you and asks you to maybe give them some feedback on the work that they did, or somebody else is in a conversation with you and they're trying to get your opinion on something, and then you chime in there, and what are you? You're negative, right? You're negative. You're hypercritical. You say something off the cuff that's insensitive. Maybe you criticize someone harshly, or something like that. And this is what happens with other people, right? This is what happens with other people. So when you think that somebody is criticizing your art, or is criticizing your looks, or is making fun of you, or is giving you a sarcastic comment, I mean, there could be literally a million reasons for why they said what they said. And it might not have to do anything with your art, or your looks, or your value as a human being. It might simply be that that person had a breakup, or a death in the family, or Maybe they don't have a really good sense of art, so their opinion isn't worth as much as you think it is. Or maybe they just skipped lunch, and so now they give you a critique, whereas if they didn't skip lunch, they would have given you a compliment. Very random, right? I want you to ask yourself, do you want to give your dreams and your vision that you have for your own life, do you want to put that in the hands of randomness? In the literally imaginations of other people that are out there, many of whom you don't really even know too well, and a lot of them who you don't even respect that much, but you still take their opinions very, very seriously. Ask yourself this question. Can I live an extraordinary life if I'm dependent on random circumstances? Is that going to happen? What you're going to realize is that it's not going to happen, and that your life probably right now is a lot less than it could have been if you hadn't been working this people pleaser strategy for so long, and so entrenched in it. Okay, so basically what we're talking about here is that it's okay, right? It's okay for the following things to happen. It's okay for someone to think that you're an asshole. It's okay. It's okay for someone to think that your work is shit. That's okay too. It's okay if somebody mocks you, if someone ridicules you, if someone makes fun of you, if someone makes you out to be a fool. That's okay too. And it's okay if you don't get that compliment that you think you deserve to get, or that you really wanted to get. All of this stuff, you need to treat it as just the wind blowing. It's the wind blowing left one morning, right the next morning. You got to treat it as though it doesn't matter. Because here's another deep realization that you need to come into contact with. And that's this, that there is nothing really that another human being can offer you of true value. This is a powerful realization that I had about, I'd say 5 months ago, that really helped me to get over this people-pleasing thing, is that I started to realize that, wait a minute, what is it really that somebody else, a human being, is offering to me in terms of what's really important? Are they really offering me fulfillment? How much fulfillment am I getting from this praise that I'm getting over here, this nice critical review that I get over here, this nice thumbs up that I get on my video, this nice comment that I get, this nice thank you letter that I get? I mean, don't get me wrong, all that stuff is nice, right? But if you're a people pleaser, you have to really tell yourself, wait a minute, what's the value in all that stuff? Can another person give me something that's truly valuable? At first, you might say, of course, Leo. I mean, other people give us valuable stuff all the time. Someone can give me some money, or someone give me some sex, or some love, or a marriage, or work, all this stuff. But think about it a little bit deeper. A little bit deeper. What you're going to find is that nobody can really fulfill you. Sure, they can give you some material stuff. They can give you job opportunities and all that kind of stuff, and they can give you sex and love. But will that really fulfill you? What you're going to find is that this game that you're playing of trying to uphold this self-image, you think that this upholding of this self-image somehow is going to fulfill you, but honestly, it doesn't really fulfill you, does it? Even when it's perfectly upheld. It's not that fulfilling. I mean, that praise that you got at work, that nice review you got in some magazine or under one of your YouTube videos or something like that, that can be nice, but what happens? A day or two passes, a week passes, a month passes, you don't even remember that you got it. You don't remember what it feels like. It was just a nice little hit. What's a lot more fulfilling is to be on your own path in life, to be honoring your values, to be living to your dreams, to be living to your full potential in life, right? To be embodying your own values, to be fighting and championing those. That's what's really fulfilling. Creating your dream life, that's what's really fulfilling. Not these little criticisms and compliments that you get left and right. So you don't need to be upholding this self-image up there. Who cares if it gets a little bit of smudges on it once in a while? You need to accept that. Accept that your self-image will get tarnished and that people out there don't need to be constantly validating it. In fact, and I'll get to this point a little bit even later in this video, is I'm going to tell you that that's actually impossible. The standards that you're setting are simply guaranteed to fail. So, as a recap, you don't need praise and you don't need approval. Right? Try to live into this in your mind. You have to kind of trick yourself because this is unnatural for you. You're a people pleaser. So you think that you really need this approval, you really need this praise, you really need people to love you, to think that you're a good human being. But really, it's okay. You're not going to die if people think that you're a bad human being. You're not going to die if somebody is criticizing you. You're not going to die if a couple of people in this world think that you're an asshole, which invariably they will. It's okay to challenge people. Tell yourself this. It's okay to do that. It's okay to offend people. It's okay to hold an unpopular opinion. It's okay to not fit in all the time. It's okay to be abnormal, to not be the average in society or the average of your group of friends or the one that fits into your family. It's okay to be the odd one out. And it's okay for people to criticize you for that. It's okay for people not to like you. It's okay for people to think that you're stupid or that your opinions are foolish or that you're flat out wrong or that you're an idiot. In your mind, a people pleaser will tell himself that, whoa, this stuff is, is horrible, must avoid at all costs. But really, if you go out there and you actually experience more of this rejection, more of this criticism, you start to build up a tougher skin and you start to realize, you know what, it just doesn't matter that much. I'm going to be dead pretty soon anyways. There's a lot more important stuff than a figment of the imagination in someone's head over there. And that's how you have to kind of start to think. If you're going to be building a big life, you're going to be going out there, imposing yourself on the world, constructing something important, maybe challenging the status quo. You're going to be clashing with people sometimes. As a people pleaser, you don't want to clash with people. You want everything to be nice and proper and prim, and that's just not going to happen. If you're building a business, there's going to be tension there. If you're building a relationship, there's going to be tension. If you're interacting with your friends, there's going to be tension. And tension comes from authenticity. When you're authentic, another person is authentic, there can be tension, and that tension is also authentic tension. And that's okay. That other person doesn't mind it so much. Actually, what that other person really doesn't like is you being fake. When you're fake all the time, just to avoid any sorts of conflict, it's hard to be attractive. Not just in intimate relationships, but I mean anywhere. It's hard to be attractive because you make yourself so bland, right? It's like you take out everything that's unique and special about you, you hide all that stuff behind your back so that nobody sees, and then you present this just like pristine vanilla mask that you put on. And that kind of mask, people aren't engaged with it, they're not excited about it, it's not good for business, it's not good for marketing, it's not good for sales, it's not good for your relationships or your love life. And it's really not good for your soul, because when you do that, your soul gets drained. You feel empty, because all that stuff that's unique about you that you put behind your back, well, that's the stuff that makes you really fulfilled when you express it. So self-expression is really probably one of the biggest things that you're sacrificing as a people pleaser. When you've got a big vision and you're going out there to build it, a lot of people won't understand what your vision is about, especially at first. Your parents might not understand what you want to do for your career. They might not get it. They understand it, they just don't get it. They think it's wrong, right? Maybe your friends think that the personal development that you're doing is stupid. Maybe your partners at work or your colleagues think that some direction that you have for the company or for this project is also wrong-headed in some way, and they're very critical of it. But you've got this vision, you've got your own values, right? And you want to live those, which means that you're going to have to put aside the opinions of those people who don't see the vision yet. This is one of the biggest struggles of being a visionary, is to deal with all the naysayers that are out there. So you got to develop some tough, thick skin, and you gotta do that even though you're not going to have the feedback that you want. You're not going to have the